Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 video here. We are going to be finishing up this commentary on Bajira's Act 1 playthrough here in just a second. I was trying to find out, I feel like the POE2 skill tree, passive tree, has to be coming out this week. So I was wanting to check if they had possibly released that yet. It doesn't look like they have, but they did update the Path of Exile website, so we've got some interesting new artwork and just design here on the POE2 homepage. You can kind of go through and check out each class that's going to be available, along with their 2 ascendancy classes for the early access. We can no longer click on these other ones, so like we can't see the druid anymore. Or I think there was the huntress class. I was hoping that there would possibly be something here when I saw this that would let us actually see the passive tree, but then it's got just more information here, so most of it's already out there from the live stream. But if you didn't watch that, or you haven't watched any of those other videos, definitely check this out if you just kind of want to see what's going on. So with that out of the way, once again, this is Bajira's POE2 Act 1 Warrior playthrough, and we will go ahead and jump back into this. So this is the final part of the Act 1 playthrough. Finishing up at the end, he'll be taking on the Act 1 boss. So if you don't want spoilers, definitely don't watch the whole thing. To me, Act 1 in every game, there's really not like any major story spoilers in an Act 1
Stick to the cairns.
playthrough.
It doesn't work.
Basically, every Act 1 is fairly similar. Like you're just learning mechanics and systems. It's kind of like a tutorial, like introductory playthrough for the game. One thing I was thinking about earlier today with regards to the new skill system, so like in POE2 there's a lot of skills that are usable with, let's say, like an axe, mace, or staff, and it seems like in POE2 they are much more bound to a specific weapon type. So like the mace weapon has its own skill gems, and those I believe are only usable with a mace. So one thing I'm kind of curious about is how will dual wielding work? Like if we dual wield, let's say, a sword and a mace, or an axe and a mace, like if I create, and maybe that will be suboptimal. I'm curious to find out, just because, if I can dual wield with Giant's Blood, two-handed weapons, and I would like to use a two-handed mace and a two-handed sword, or an axe and a sword, etc. How is that going to look when we use a skill? Like if I use a mace-only skill, am I only going to hit with one weapon? Is it going to take into account both weapons? Like how is it going to work is what I'm very curious to find out. Or if like I'm dual wielding two-handed hammers and I use leap slam, like is that going to take into effect both hammers into the damage? Because like, is dual wielding two-handed weapons going to effectively double our damage when using an ability, or is it just going to give us, how exactly is it going to work? That's what I'd really like to know.
What is it?
And so hopefully we'll get the Path of Exile 2 passive tree sometime this week, and we can all kind of start digging into that and be doing some theory crafting. assuming that it does come out before the game, I will definitely be making, you know, at least another video or two just on some theory crafting, like exploring the passive tree, coming up with just some sort of like general ideas of, you know, a build. I've already kind of got something in mind for Giant's Blood, with it doubling the stat requirements. I feel like that is going to take, you know, a very large investment into stats from the passive tree. Like, we're not going to just be able to pick up a ton of damage nodes and dual wield those weapons with the doubled stat requirement. And keep in mind as well that the stat nodes now only give you +5 instead of +10. So not knowing exactly how much stats we can, you know, anticipate getting from gear right off the bat, or even like what the highest affix numbers will be and the requirements on a weapon. I mean, even just like a normal two-handed weapon in POE1, like, you're looking at close to 200 strength for like a two-handed mace. So let's say we need 400, like, I'd say low ball 300, and on the higher end like 400 strength requirement for a two-handed weapon. That's gonna be quite an investment, I think. Like, let's say the highest affix in POE1, I want to say, is like a 50, a plus 50 strength. I'll double check that real quick. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna do it in the middle of this, but I want to say it's like 50 to 75, somewhere in that realm. So, and it's gonna, you know, we can't craft it onto gear, so it's definitely gonna be a large investment to be able to dual wield the two-handed weapons. So, and with also not being able to get life from the passive tree, you know, I'm planning on maybe just like really stacking heavily into strength. I thought he already fought the crow bell. Is he fighting it again, or just going to the same area? Okay, I think he's just taking on the side boss again here. Let me make sure I've got, yep, this is part 3. So maybe he's just fighting it to see like what drops you get from killing it a second time. I mean, I guess that is, you know, useful to know if early on, is it worth like stopping and killing a side boss a few times. Oh, he kind of like knocked it through the door. Nothing to write home about there, just a few blue items. But yeah, so back to my sort of theory crafting. So stacking strength, assuming strength still gives you some health. It may be one of the only, if not the only way to get some HP from your passive tree. And, you know, if it's the same, it's going to give you health and a little bit of damage. So it may be kind of a solid all-around way to kind of get damage and survivability, and you know, work your way to that Giant's Blood Keystone passive. I am a little curious, you know, what the dex requirement on axes and swords will be, because if the dex requirement and the strength requirements are just like massive, it could be very limiting to
there are far more of them than I expected.
you know, what's possible. Yeah, it does seem like the biggest hurdle in the early game, at least, is survivability aspect. POE1,
by decree of
the biggest hurdle was, you know, how quickly can I blast through the content. I mean, it really seems like they have the passive tree like completely fleshed out. I don't know why they haven't given us like let us get our hands on it yet.
It's incredibly satisfying. It's actually really
like it's completely done. You know, why not let us get our hands on it? Hopefully maybe by Monday, maybe tomorrow, Saturday. I just don't know why they wouldn't let us get it and see it, and utilize it, especially because there's already been like a closed NDA beta. Like, there's a decent number of players out there that have had opportunities to play the game and utilize it, so they definitely have like an advantage going into the early access. Not that it's like, you know, the end of the world, but I mean, for anyone that's kind of competitive or wants to try and get to like the endgame content, you know, ahead of the pack, it would be helpful, or you know, it would at least give people a little bit more of a level playing field, because as of right now, like, we're all going to be going into it blind, and then it takes like, it definitely takes a little bit of time to get sort of accustomed to a new passive tree. Like, if you don't play POE1 for a while and you come back and they've like redone the passive tree a few times, and they've moved stuff around, like, you have to now figure out sort of like new paths to get what you want. You figure out where the stuff that you want is on the tree.
That voice. What sinister shadow lurks here?
King of the Mists. I want to see the reward on the ritual altars. It looks like in POE2 you maybe don't have access to it until you complete all of the ritual altars.
Destruction!
I am kind of curious as to why they decided to add them into the like campaign playthrough versus just having them in Endgame maps. I mean, not that I think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It's just, you know, it's like in POE1 terms a league mechanic, and to have like you know, multiple potentially league mechanics in the campaign at the same time is going to be, you know, a fresh and kind of interesting way to play through the campaign, especially on a new campaign that we haven't had a chance to play through before.
Crush them! I've nowhere to keep that.
Seems like a lot
Flasks has an
of weapons
unbeatable Black
grant
Friday
you
offer.
skills now.
Proposition.
Spin to win.
What have we got?
So it gives you a plus lightning resistance when you get hit by lightning. It's kind of interesting.
If you find a pint out there, do bring it back.
Oh, he's gonna die. So even just like these white mob packs are pretty dangerous. Like, it definitely seems like we're gonna be like fighting our way through. Like, you're not just gonna be blasting enemies, spamming your Quicksilver Flasks and running through to like the end of the map to get to the next part of the campaign. Like we're gonna be out here fighting for our lives, basically.
Fear will best you.
And I hope that they don't, like, I'm sure there will be some vocal POE1 players that are upset with how kind of slow the speed of the game is. And I hope that the devs don't give into that, like, sort of whiny feedback. Like, you know, if you want that, because there's already a game that exists for that playstyle, and that's why they are keeping POE1 a live game, because people still like that. You know, if you want that fast, zoomy playstyle, play POE1.
You were no one.
I think it's definitely going to take some getting used to, though, to utilizing so many different abilities. And then figuring out, like, how to combo your skills.
Feel my wrath.
Looking at the health potions, it does look like, you know, the one health potion is going to have about as many charges as you would have from 3 or 4 life flasks. So that's nice. It is going to save a lot of slots, like slots for items, abilities, especially as if you're playing on console. Because I think before, it was like each directional button was a flask, and then you still had like 2 more flasks. So that was taking up like 6 buttons. It was like 5 or 6 buttons, I forget how many flasks. Excuse me, how many flasks there were total in POE1. But I think it was 6. They did confirm that there will be a loot filter. I'm curious to see like how much of a necessity it's going to be compared to POE1. It was basically impossible to play the game without a loot filter. I mean, I played for years before they added the loot filter into the game, and it was pretty rough, because there could be so many items on the ground that it wouldn't even be able to display all of them. So you might miss, like, you know, a valuable item or currency item because there's so much trash on the ground that you couldn't actually like display the item on your screen. And then you'd be trying to run around through the map and constantly picking up items, because everywhere you moved your cursor was an item.
What's this?
One thing I'm wondering is if is he under leveled for this area, or is there some side content that he should do before coming here? Because this is not going very well.
I must destroy this before it goes any further.
I do like the shocking animation on your health pool, so you can tell, you know, with, you know, very high certainty whether or not you were shocked. It was easy to miss in POE1 because it was just a status effect up in the top left corner of the screen. Oh, you actually fight the King of the Mists here.
Shut up!
Oh, okay. Here we go. Now he looks a little more intimidating. Oh man, he's got, this is like phase 2, he's got full health pool again. Uh-oh, he's out of health potions. It's not good. So I wonder how much of the endgame fight versus the King of the Mists is based off of this fight here.
But there was no other way.
Because we do know that that is one of the final fights. Or in one of the endgame encounters, one of the pinnacle bosses is the King of the Mist. I kind of think the helm with the plus life is probably better. Well, maybe not. I don't know. That other one does have quite a bit more armor and some energy shield on it. Plus other stats.
I've nowhere to keep that.
I do think it's going to be, you know, assuming we can get enough identify scrolls, probably if it's an item type that you
make your
are,
own fun.
you know,
matter
that's
what it
usable
looks
for
like.
you or could be useful, picking it up and at least identifying it and seeing if it's got two good affixes for you to then regal. Because there are no more scouring orbs in the game, base items are going to just be much more valuable. So here's your charms, and you can see your charm slots there on below the belt in between the flasks.
Come back soon. How can I help? Go well.
I missed what that reward was. Persistent buff gem, level 4. Okay, actually I want to read these. I mean, I know what Herald of Ash does. Okay, magma barrier. When you raise your shield, it's infused with magma for a short time. Blocking during this time will spray magma at the attacker and grant you an endurance charge. Okay. Raising your shield infuses it with magma for half a second. Cannot perform a magma-infused block for 0.7 or 3/4 of a second after the magma dissipates. So that's a way to generate endurance charges. It looks like there's a little tooltip there to see what the magma spray does. So we've got scavenged plating, uses fragments of armor. Scavenged from enemies to bolster your own. Fully breaking an enemy's armor grants you a stack of scavenged plating for a duration, and you gain armor and thorns per stack. So scavenged plating duration is 8 seconds. 3% more armor per scavenged plating. Maximum 10 scavenged plating, so that could give you a total of 30% more armor. And 4 to 6 thorns per scavenged plating, so that could be at least a level 4, 40 to 60 thorns damage. Personally, I think I would probably go with Herald of Ash, but you know, I'll be interested to see how this works.
How can I help?
I'm wondering, I mean, I'm assuming endurance charges are probably very similar, if not the same. Yeah, I think I would definitely equip that shield there.
Till next time.
Crush them!
Okay, that's pretty sick. So the endurance charges last a lot longer. It looks like starting out 20 seconds.
As you hold down the button for Perfect Strike, your character will charge up. If you release at exactly the right moment,
Oh, nice.
you'll create a large explosion in front of you.
That's pretty awesome. So there's like timing involved in using that ability well.
Shield Charge is best used for stunning a small group of enemies.
Alright, so it looks like he's building like sword and board here. I think he just put a Fist of War support into the Shockwave totem, and it said it can't be supported by that gym, but he still socketed it in there. Unless I'm just crazy. I'm curious if there's enough offensive abilities with the shield to where, like, that the shield will be your main offensive weapon. Like, is there a shield dash? Or a smite? You know, are we gonna see the resurgence of the smiter? Alright, I think I'm gonna... Looks like we're close to halfway through here. Probably gonna have to crash because I am having a hard time staying awake at this point. Sorry guys, getting kind of old. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. It helps me out. I'll get the rest of this video posted probably tomorrow night. So thanks again guys, and remember to give them the D.